Power rarely stays still in MMA. Titles change hands, legacies twist, and goals shift. Islam Makhachev spent years tightening his grip on the UFC lightweight division, building an unprecedented reign. And now, with the division in his rear view, he's chasing more history head-on.
Who don't want to be double champion? This is a history, you know. This is a dream for all fighters to get second belt, you know.
It's officially happening. It's not a pipe dream anymore. It's not a thought. It's official.
But standing in his way is Jack Della Maddalena, Perth's quiet killer and new welterweight champion who's ready to welcome Islam into this division of sharks.
The plan is to blow the roof off MSG, and what better way than defending the belt, the top slot, pound for pound #1.
It's about as close as it gets to a super fight, where pressure meets precision and legacies are forged in real time. And if that wasn't enough, the co-main event delivers another collision at the highest possible level. Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili, two of the most dominant champions of this era, colliding in a fight that blurs the line between divisions and could put a stamp on both their legacies.
This is a super fight. Valentina Shevchenko, the flyweight queen, is going to put her title on the line against Zhang Weili, the former strawweight champ, who's vacating the title to move up. This one is the fight all of us have been waiting for.
Power versus power here in terms of name value, experience, historical relevance. This is a big one.
Two champions moving up for more gold, and two ready to make them pay for it. This isn't just another pay-per-view card. It's easily one of the most stacked of the year, with history hanging in the balance. But before the UFC returns to Madison Square Garden in New York City, let's take an inside look into UFC 322.
We have one of the biggest shows we have every single year at Madison Square Garden. So this fight card is going to be sick.
I want to get that win. I'm gunning for it, you know. I really want to, obviously just for myself, but I'm going to get it back for the team.
All my life, I want to be the best fighter in the world. I want to be greatest in this game.
This card is so stacked.
It is a big fight field in New York City, baby.
Zhang Weili did just about everything she could do at strawweight to carve out her argument as the divisional GOAT. Well, apart from a pair of losses to Rose Namajunas, but she went 2-0 over the consensus GOAT Joanna Jędrzejczyk, which certainly counts for something. But in practice, there's never been a better balance of physicality at 115 pounds than Weili. And before you mention Jessica Andrade, just remember how Weili utterly dominated her up close and personal. If any strawweight was the right woman to move up to 125, it's Weili. And thankfully, she's doing so at a point in her career where she still looks like she has a lot to give.
Weili, you are now arguably the greatest strawweight of all time. Is it now time for a super fight at 125 pounds against Valentina Shevchenko?
So you want to go up to flyweight and become champion there?
Yeah.
The question of whether a fighter is in their prime or past is more suitably applied to Valentina Shevchenko. Even though she's only a year or so older than Weili, she's been at the top of the sport for much longer.
This was your 10th win in a UFC title fight tonight, and you join a group of fighters that includes John Jones, George St. Pierre, Demetrius Johnson, Anderson Silva, and Amanda Nunes.
I'm still keep going. I'm not stopping. It's just the beginning.
In terms of what's best for your legacy, would Weili mean a little more to you?
Probably yes.
The bullet isn't showing many signs of slowing down, so we can safely assume we're getting two very good versions of these living legends for this super fight.
Every single year, these two women could be Female Fighter of the Year. Since Amanda Nunes left, it's been a bout between Valentina or Weili. Now they fight each other in Madison Square Garden.
This is the epitome of a real super fight. When you think about Weili Zhang, she's been so dominated at strawweight. There's no one in the division that I think could even challenge with her right now. So this fight absolutely makes sense. Now Valentina Shevchenko, she's held it down for women's MMA for so long. She needs a real challenge right now, somebody that we know can give her a challenge.
One of the biggest questions we'll have here is just how well Weili's power and physicality will translate up in weight, because even if she's the smaller fighter to some degree, surely she'll be coming in here with more pop on her shots, with a chance of hurting Valentina on the feet. But even more interesting is how these two will match up in the wrestling and grappling departments. A lot of this fight's rhythm will be dictated by Shevchenko's game plan and what she decides to do. If she tries to smother Weili, we'll see how much physicality really matters. But on the feet, that's where this one can get interesting. Weili is dangerous, but not the technician that Valentina is. However, she wasn't the technician that Joanna was either, and look how those fights turned out. This one has way more unknowns than a lot of people are giving it credit for.
There is a possibility Zhang could get smothered here, that's real, but there's also a possibility that she would be able to stick and move, get up off bottom, just become a much more interesting and dynamic threat. The skill level between Shevchenko and Weili is very high.
This is what we've all been kind of calling for and wanting to see, and to put it on that card with that main event, it's like, let's go.
It almost feels strange to call Islam Makhachev a former champion. But in his pursuit of greatness, he's coming into the welterweight division with everything to prove.
We have a lot of UFC champions, but not much double champions. That's why I want to be one of them, and I deserve my chance, you know. I defend my belt more than everybody, and now it's new step. It's the biggest fight for me in my career. It's the biggest fight, you know. It's the biggest challenge for me.
After carving out a resume at 155 that, at the very least, made him a rival to Khabib Nurmagomedov's GOAT claim, Islam is now attempting to do something that the Eagle never did. Standing opposite him will be the most unheralded champion on the roster, Jack Della Maddalena, a relatively young and inexperienced champ, but a guy who's been improving at a staggering rate. Any questions about his ability to deal with determined wrestlers have slowly been answered fight to fight. And last time around, his title-winning performance against Belal Muhammad showed us that JDM is well and truly hitting his prime.
We've seen Jack Della Maddalena struggle with the takedowns and some of the grappling at times and have to overcome adversity. That was not the case tonight. He obviously has worked on his takedown defense, and when the moment mattered the most, he leveled up.
Jack is one hell of a boxer for MMA, a technical marvel for the division who should be favored against anyone in the weight class when it comes to punching prowess. And if Alexander Volkanovski can drop Islam to the mat, what does that tell you about the damage that JDM can do? But for as much as Belal Muhammad is a workhorse and an excellent wrestler in his own right, Islam brings something truly different to the table.
I mean, obviously, he's been the pound-for-pound king, or at worst #2, for like 3 years now. I believe those early odds show you that he's definitely the more skilled fighter, but the obvious question that we don't have an answer to is, how does he look 15 pounds higher? That's the leap he's going to have to make.
Jack Della Maddalena's just getting used to being champion. The guy he's fighting is a pound-for-pound star. A lot of people will say the best fighter on the planet.
He's the star of this event, make no mistake. His lightweight reign wasn't spotless, but it was next level, defined by control, composure, and the ability to adapt when things did get rough. He's far more layered than the archetype some people try to box him into. His striking is sharp, his power is real, and when he blends it with his grappling, it becomes a different kind of problem entirely. If he can get JDM biting on the takedown early, those layers could start to show fast. This fight will be interesting no matter where it's contested, but we should get answers to some of the key questions pretty early on. The first one: how does JDM deal with a technically masterful MMA wrestler? The second, does Islam's power and physicality translate up to welterweight? And perhaps most interestingly of all, if the fight does go into the later rounds, how does that look?
I think Islam is a tough fight for him. I really do. You know, his stand-up is way more squared away, I believe, than Belal's, and he's got the discipline with the wrestling. I believe that's a tough matchup.
I think so, just based on his grappling and well-roundedness and experience. I think that he could definitely pose some problems for JDM. However, I would say this, that every pound counts in this sport. Weight matters, power matters. JDM is just a much bigger guy. And those shots that he's landing against Bilal, if he lands those against someone like Islam, who has been knocked out in the past, I don't see him taking it in the same way that Bilal can take it. It's going to be interesting. I think with his wrestling, he can get some things done. Again, you're moving around a much larger body.
Both men probably have the tools to break their opponent here. The question is how well they can navigate all of these unknowns and bring the hammer down.
Islam tweeted this: time to become double champion, inshallah, let's go. You are not Volk, I will show you a different level, I'll keep my belt clean. Do you think he respects you?
I don't know. I reckon he's going to underestimate me as well.
You like that, though?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, for sure. But it doesn't really matter what he thinks. We're gonna fight.
Honestly, like, this is my hardest camp in my life, you know. I understand it's gonna be a hard fight, and this is big chance to be one of the best fighter ever who did this, you know. That's why I push myself for this fight very hard.
A win for either man would be absolutely huge. JDM is the type of fighter who could well become a big star for the UFC. He just needs that one signature victory. Taking the scalp of a fighter with Islam's aura would be massive for him. Islam, on the other hand, would be moving into some very interesting discussions if he captures a second belt. Sure, he doesn't have the reign of dominance at this point to be considered a true contender for overall GOAT status, but the greatest fighter of his era? Or the best of this decade? Yeah, that would most certainly be on the table. Both men are built to last 5 rounds, and each man is more than capable of finishing the other if the opportunity presents itself, early in the fight or deep into the championship rounds. This is a blockbuster event. It's rare to see 2 super fights on the same card, even if both Weili and Islam have vacated their titles. We know Islam will be up to the challenge of withstanding the pressure of a major pay-per-view under the bright lights. But for as much as we don't know JDM's limits, some fighters come alive on the big stage. Only time will tell who's more ready for this moment.